Deep within the glimmering greenwood forest, where sunlight dappled through leaves like golden coins and friendly woodland preachers chattered secrets to the breeze, lived a very special squirrel named Tilly. Now, Tilly wasn't like the other squirrels, with their bushy tails and twitching noses, burying nuts with frantic energy. Tilly was a clockwork squirrel. Her body was crafted from polished oak wood, her tail was a beautifully spiraled spring, and her bright, curious eyes were tiny, sparkling blue gems. Inside her, a delicate network of gears whirred and ticked, powered by a tiny golden key that her creator, the forest tinker, wound each morning. Tilly loved her life in Greenwood Forest. She would zoom through the undergrowth with surprising speed, her mechanical joints clicking rhythmically. She'd help the other animals, using her precise movements to untangle thorny vines or carry delicate flower petals. But sometimes Tilly felt a little different. She couldn't climb trees as swiftly as the other squirrels, and she never quite understood their excitement about burying ordinary acorns. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves blazed in hues of red and gold, a great commotion stirred the forest. The golden acorn, the heart of Greenwood Forest, was missing. This wasn't just any acorn. It shimmered with a warm inner light and was said to hold the magic that kept the forest vibrant and protected it through the long winter. Panic rippled through the trees. Elderflower, the wise old rabbit, wrung his paws, and Barnaby the bear grumbled with worry. Tilly, perched on a mossy log, felt a whirring of concern in her gears. She might be different, but Greenwood Forest was her home, and the thought of its magic fading filled her with a strange, unfamiliar sadness. Suddenly, a tiny, tearful voice squeaked beside her. It was Pipkin, the field mouse, his whiskers trembling. I saw something shiny near the Whispering Falls yesterday, but I was too scared to go closer. A spark of determination ignited in Tilly's gem eyes. Her precise nature and lack of fear of the shadowy parts of the forest made her uniquely suited for this task. "Don't worry, Pipkin," Tilly said, her voice a gentle click-clack. "I will investigate." With a renewed winding of her golden key, Tilly set off towards the Whispering Falls. The journey was filled with rustling leaves and the distant calls of worried birds. As she neared the falls, the air grew damp, and a low, mysterious humming filled her delicate ears. Hidden behind a curtain of cascading water, Tilly discovered a small, dimly lit cave. And there, on a bed of soft moss, was the golden acorn. It pulsed with a faint light, but something was wrong. It looked dull. Beside the acorn sat a creature Tilly had never seen before, a small, shadowy sprite with large, sad eyes. In its tiny hands, it clutched a small, intricately carved wooden box. Tilly approached cautiously, her mechanical footsteps echoing in the cave. "Hello?" she clicked softly. The shadowy sprite looked up, startled. Tears welled in its large eyes. I didn't mean any harm," it whispered, its voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "I just wanted to see what made the acorn so special. I tried to keep its shine in my box, but it's not the same." Tilly understood. The sprite hadn't meant to steal the acorn. It was simply curious and perhaps a little lonely. The golden acorn's magic isn't something that can be kept in a box, Tilly explained gently. It needs to be free, connecting with the greenwood forest. The little sprite looked at the dull acorn, then at Tilly's kind gem eyes. Slowly, it opened the wooden box. Inside, Tilly saw tiny fragments of golden light, like captured fireflies. As the box opened, the light flickered and began to drift towards the acorn. As the last speck of light touched it, the golden acorn burst into a radiant glow, filling the cave with warmth and shimmering light. The humming in Tilly's gears grew stronger, a feeling of rightness settling within her. Together, Tilly and the little shadowy sprite carried the now glowing golden acorn back to the heart of Greenwood Forest. A cheer erupted from the waiting animals. Elderflower the rabbit hopped with relief, and Barnaby the bear let out a happy grumble. They placed the golden acorn back on its ancient pedestal, and the forest seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief, its colors growing brighter, its sounds more joyful. The little shadowy sprite, no longer sad, watched with wonder. Tilly approached it. "Why did you want to keep the acorn's shine?" she asked kindly. Because our part of the forest is always dark," the sprite whispered. I wanted to bring a little light to my home." Tilly's gears whirred thoughtfully. She might not produce light herself, but she could reflect it. An idea sparked in her gem eyes. With the help of the beavers, they gathered smooth, shiny stones from the riverbed and carefully placed them in the shadowy part of the forest, angling them to catch the sunlight that filtered through the trees. As the sun shone, the stones scattered the light, creating shimmering patches of brightness where before there had been only shadow. The little sprite giggled with delight, finally seeing light dance in its home. From that day on, Tilly the clockwork squirrel was more than just a different kind of squirrel. She was a hero, not because of great strength, but because of her cleverness, her determination, and her kind heart. And the children of the forest learned that true magic isn't about keeping special things for yourself, but about sharing your unique gifts and working together to bring light and happiness to everyone.
Barnaby was a teddy bear of distinguished fluffiness, once the beloved companion of a little girl named Lily. He had soft brown fur, one slightly crooked button eye, a result of a daring tea party incident, and a comforting, squishy tummy, perfect for bedtime cuddles. For years, Barnaby and Lily were inseparable, embarking on countless imaginary adventures, from scaling Mount Sofa to sailing the bathtub seas. But As Lily grew, her interests shifted. Dolls with sparkling dresses and robots with flashing lights began to occupy her playtime. Slowly, Barnaby found himself nestled in the corner of the toy chest, then on a shelf in the attic, and finally tucked away in a dusty box labeled Old Treasures. His once bright button eyes grew dim with a quiet kind of sadness, the ache of being forgotten. One starless night, as the wind howled softly outside, Barnaby felt a strange tingling sensation. The dusty box around him seemed to shimmer, and a faint melodic hum filled the air. Suddenly, the wall of the attic rippled like water, revealing a hidden doorway bathed in a warm, inviting glow. Curiosity overcoming his sadness, Barnaby tumbled out of the box and into the mysterious passage. The passage twisted and turned, the air growing sweeter with the scent of old paper and warm wood. Finally, it opened into a breathtaking sight, the great library of forgotten toys. Towering shelves stretched as far as Barnaby's crooked eye could see, filled not with books, but with every imaginable kind of toy. Rag dolls with faded smiles sat beside tin soldiers with dented armor. Wooden trains with chipped paint rested near plush animals with matted fur. Each toy seemed to hum with a faint, unheard story. In the center of the grand hall stood a wise-looking rocking horse with a gently swaying mane made of braided yarn. This was Professor Woodrow, the librarian of forgotten toys. He had kind, painted eyes that twinkled with gentle understanding. "Welcome, dear Barnaby," Professor Woodrow said, his voice a soft creak like an old rocking chair in motion. "We have been expecting you." Barnaby was astonished. "Expecting me? Where is this place?" "This is where forgotten toys come," Professor Woodrow explained kindly. "Toys who were once loved with all a child's heart, but have now been put away. Here, their stories are kept safe, remembered, and cherished." As Barnaby wandered through the library, he saw toys from every era. There was a wind-up robot with a missing antenna, a porcelain doll with a crack across her cheek, and a set of wooden blocks arranged in a half-finished castle. Each toy seemed to hum with a faint, unheard story. He met Rosie, a rag doll with a single button eye and a dress patched with love. Rosie told him stories of picnics in sunny gardens and comforting tears during rainy afternoons. He spoke with Captain Calico, a one-legged pirate action figure who recounted daring voyages across bedroom floors and fierce battles against dust bunnies. But amidst the quiet hum of forgotten stories, Barnaby felt a deep yearning. He missed Lily. He remembered the warmth of her small hands, the sound of her giggles, and the comfort of her bedtime hugs. "Professor Woodrow," Barnaby asked, his voice filled with a touch of his old sadness, "will we ever be remembered again? Will the children we loved ever need us back?" Professor Woodrow nodded slowly. "Sometimes, dear Barnaby, children do remember. Sometimes they rediscover the treasures they once held dear. And sometimes," his painted eyes twinkled again, "new children find their way to us, drawn by the echoes of our forgotten stories." That night, Professor Woodrow showed Barnaby the most special part of the library, the Hall of Whispering Memories. Here, on shimmering shelves, floated faint, glowing images, snippets of the toys' past lives. Barnaby saw fleeting glimpses of Lily, her tiny hand clutching him tightly, her bright smile as they played in the park, the sleepy contentment on her face as she drifted off to sleep with him by her side. Seeing these memories filled Barnaby with both joy and a fresh pang of longing. He realized that even though he was physically forgotten, the love he and Lily shared still existed in these shimmering echoes. Days turned into quiet weeks in the great library. Barnaby helped Rosie tidy her shelf, listened to Captain Calico's swashbuckling tales, and even helped the wooden train find its missing wheel. He found comfort in the company of other forgotten toys, and he began to understand that their stories had value even if they weren't currently being lived. Then, one afternoon, a different kind of light filled the library. It wasn't the soft glow of the enchanted lamps, but a brighter, more familiar light. A small figure hesitantly stepped through the hidden doorway, a young girl with bright, curious eyes and a tangle of brown hair. It was Lily. She looked around in wonder, her gaze falling upon the towering shelves of forgotten treasures. Her eyes widened as she spotted a familiar patch of brown fur peeking out from behind a stack of old board games. "Barnaby?" she whispered, her voice filled with surprise and a touch of the old affection. Barnaby's button eye nearly popped with joy. Lily remembered! She carefully reached for him, her fingers brushing his soft fur. As her hand closed around him, a rush of warmth and love flowed through Barnaby. He felt whole again, the ache of being forgotten replaced by the joy of being found. Lily carried Barnaby back through the hidden doorway, out of the dusty attic, and into her bright, sunny room. She placed him carefully on her bed, right beside her favorite pillow. That night, as Lily drifted off to sleep, she held Barnaby close. He felt the familiar comfort of her small hand resting on his fur. He was no longer forgotten. He was home. The moral of Barnaby's story is that even when we feel overlooked or set aside, the love and memories we've shared are never truly lost. And sometimes, with a little bit of time and a remembering heart, we can be found again and cherished anew.
The Curious Chameleon's colorful transformation story. In a world far beyond our own, nestled in a land of misty green leaves and soft gray rocks, lived a colony of chameleons. But these were no ordinary chameleons. They were known as the Gray Glimmers because they all shared the same quiet, misty gray color. They blended perfectly with their surroundings, keeping them safe and peaceful. Among them was a young chameleon named Leon. He was a gentle soul with bright, curious eyes that held a spark of wonder. Unlike the others, Leon felt a deep longing for something more. He'd heard whispers from the traveling fireflies about a world bursting with color, fiery reds, sunny yellows, and calming blues. While the other chameleons were content to be safe and unseen, Leon dreamed of a world beyond gray. He was a curious chameleon who wondered what it would feel like to be a color, to have a feeling you could wear. One morning, Leon's curiosity won out. With a deep breath and a determined heart, he set out on a journey to find the source of all the colors. He left his gray home, his friends calling out to him, "Stay safe, Leon! Change is dangerous." His adventure began as he crawled down a winding path. He found a field bathed in sunlight, filled with tall, golden sunflowers that turned their faces to the sun. The air was warm and full of happy buzzing. Leon's heart filled with a bright, cheerful feeling, and without thinking, he landed on a sunflower leaf. Suddenly, his skin, once misty gray, began to shift. He felt a gentle warmth spread from his heart to his toes, and in a flash, he became a brilliant, vibrant yellow. He looked at his reflection in a dewdrop and gasped. He felt so bright and full of energy, but a little scared of this brand new color. Over the next few days, Leon continued his journey. He climbed a towering tree with ruby red leaves that looked like tiny flames. The air was crackling with a quick, brave energy. Leon felt a new feeling of power surging through him. His skin turned a daring, confident red. He felt strong and fast, but the intensity of the color was a little overwhelming. He was starting to learn that each color came with its own feeling. Next, Leon found a deep, still pond. He sat on a smooth stone at its edge and looked into the calm water. The world around him seemed to slow down. The loud, bold red began to fade, and a peaceful, cool blue washed over him. He felt so calm and wise, like the deep water of the pond. He was so excited by all his discoveries. He had experienced joy, courage, and peace. He decided he wanted to experience every color at once. He found a spot where a rainbow had touched the ground. He tried to turn yellow and red and blue and green all at the same time. His skin began to flash uncontrollably, a dizzying, confusing mess of color. He wasn't yellow or red or blue. He was a mix of every color, a muddy, chaotic shade of brown. He felt lost and overwhelmed. He realized that by trying to be everything at once, he wasn't being himself at all. He felt a deep, sad emptiness. Lost and discouraged, Leon found a small, smooth, ordinary gray rock. He landed on it and simply stayed there, still and quiet. all the colors drained from him, and he returned to his natural, misty gray self. He was a little disappointed, but a new feeling settled over him, a profound sense of relief. He looked at his skin, and for the first time, he didn't just see a simple gray chameleon. He saw himself, Leon, a chameleon who had seen the world and felt the feelings of its colors. He realized that his true self wasn't about being yellow or red or blue. His true self was misty gray, a calm, steady foundation that allowed him to experience all the other colors without losing himself. Leon returned to his home. His fellow chameleons were relieved to see him, still safe and still gray. But Leon now had a secret. He could still change color. He could turn a cheerful yellow when he wanted to feel happy, a brave red when he needed to be courageous, or a peaceful blue when he felt sad or needed to be calm. He had the freedom to be any color he chose, but he learned that his most powerful color was the one he started with. The moral of Leon's story is that the most beautiful color you can ever be is your own. The journey of self-discovery is a wonderful adventure, but true happiness comes from embracing who you are and using change as a way to grow, not as a way to hide.
In a fiery desert kingdom, Pyra, a tiny phoenix chick with soft orange feathers, wide golden eyes, and a flickering flame tail, fluttered weakly through the sands. Her tiny woven cactus flower necklace jiggled as she watched the once mighty volcano, the Heart of Flames, dim with every passing day. The air grew cold, and the colorful lizards with blue scales, sturdy camels with golden humps, and fluttering butterflies with fiery wings moved slower, their spirits fading. Pyra's heart ached with loneliness and fear, tears welling up as she wondered if her dimming flame meant she'd never fly strong like her mother, who had vanished in a blaze years ago. One twilight, near the volcano's cooling base, Pyra landed, her golden eyes brimming with tears. Shelley the tortoise, a wise old friend with a cracked brown shell and a glowing ember pendant, approached with a gentle voice. "The Heart of Flames is the life of our land, little one," she said, her hazel eyes soft. "Its fade means our hope fades too." Pyra's chest tightened with sadness, feeling small and helpless as she remembered her mother's lost song. Suddenly, Flick the desert fox bounded in, his sandy red fur swishing with a blue scarf made from oasis leaves. With a cheeky grin and sparkling green eyes, he teased, "Your flame's so dim it's a candle stub." But seeing Pyra's tears, he softened, sharing a funny story of losing his tail glow and giggling through it. Pyra's lips quivered into a smile, and Shelley revealed an ancient legend, the Ember Core, a mystical crystal deep in molten caves, could reignite the volcano. A spark of hope flickered in Pyra's heart, her necklace glowing faintly. With her heart pounding with fear and excitement, Pyra agreed to the quest. Flick jumped with joy, promising clever tricks, while Shelley offered her wisdom. As they set off under the starry sky, Pyra felt a warm spark in her tail, her resolve strengthening despite the terror ahead. Reaching the molten cave entrance, lava bubbled threateningly, and Pyra's flame dimmed with panic. Flick's encouraging words in Shelley's steady wing touch warmed her heart, and they ventured inside, Pyra's eyes wide with wonder and worry. Inside, lava monsters rose, their fiery eyes roaring, and Pyra froze, her tail nearly extinguishing as memories of her mother's loss flooded back. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mixing with the lava to form a path. Flick's clever dodges and Shelley's protective shell bought time, her heart swelling with gratitude for her friends. They crossed a collapsing lava bridge, rocks crumbling into fire below. Pyra's panic surged, but Shelley's calm story of her own lost home steadied her, and Flick's vine swings pulled them across, Pyra's flames sparking brighter with love. In a dark eagle lair, Eagle King Vort ambushed them, his spiked feather crown glinting and red eyes mocking Pyra's dim flame. "You'll never shine," he sneered, bringing tears to her eyes. Flick's witty retorts and Shelley's defiant stand gave Pyra courage to sing a soft tune, weakening Vort's grip. Vort revealed he stole the volcano spark to hoard power, his voice bitter with loneliness. Pyra felt a surge of sadness for him, her heart aching, and the trio fought back with Flick's tricks, Shelley's strength, and Pyra's growing song, escaping with emotional resolve. They reached the Ember Core chamber, a crystal heart pulsing faintly. Pyra's flame dimmed with doubt, her fears overwhelming her. Flick and Shelley hugged her, their friendship igniting a tearful spark, and Pyra began her rebirth song, emotions overflowing. Her trembling voice grew, awakening the Ember Core, transforming lava monsters into glowing allies. Flick cheered joyfully, Shelley smiled proudly, tears in their eyes, as the chamber filled with hope. Vort assaulted the chamber, his wings whipping winds, driven by desperate jealousy. Pyra's heart broke for his loneliness, her song turning to a plea for friendship. Flick's clever trap and Shelley's shield held him off, her emotions fueling her melody. The song peaked, igniting the Ember Core in a burst of light, reviving the volcano. The kingdom shook with joy. But Pyra collapsed, her flame fading. Flick and Shelley's tears and hugs revived her, emotions of love and relief flooding the scene. The volcano erupted with warm lava, the kingdom blooming with life. Pyra arose reborn, her flame blazing, feeling overwhelming joy. Vort, touched by her kindness, bowed in regret, tears in his eyes, joining the celebration. Pyra called a council at the volcano base, her voice strong with emotion. Lizards, camels, butterflies gathered, sharing stories of loss and hope, their tears of joy flowing as Shelley led a chant and Flick added humor. A sudden sandstorm tested the kingdom, symbolizing lingering doubts. Pyra's heart raced with fear, but her friends' encouragement and the herd's unity amplified her song, turning the storm into a gentle rain, evoking waves of relief and happiness. That night, a dazzling Phoenix festival lit the kingdom with fireflies and glowing dances. Pyra, crowned with flame feathers, led a rebirth dance, her heart full of love, sharing hugs with friends, tears of joy flowing. Vort confessed his jealousy, tears streaming, feeling alone.
Pyra forgave him with a hug, her flame warming his heart, and the kingdom cheered. Emotions of forgiveness and new beginnings filled the air. At dawn, Pyra flew high, her flame bright, overlooking the thriving kingdom. Friends joined, their hearts full of pride and love, Pyra singing a song of hope, tears of happiness in her eyes. She gathered all, her voice emotional, sharing how resilience and hope saved them. The kingdom roared in unity, hearts connected. The moral lesson shined. Resilience and hope can reignite life's wonders, teaching kids that even in the darkest times, believing in yourself and your friends can bring back the light.
Glow fluttered dimly through the twinkling forest glen, her green glow fading as she hid behind leaves, feeling lonely and sad. Birds chirped, rabbits hopped, and butterflies danced, but Glow's heart ached, wondering why her light wouldn't shine bright like the others. Approaching the magical dream tree, its branches dimming with a shadowy fog, Lily, the deer, shared a gentle smile, explaining the fog steals hopes. Glow's eyes filled with tears, feeling her dim light mirrored the tree's sadness, her necklace trembling. Sunny, the squirrel, scampered in, his acorn cap bobbing, teasing Glow's dim light, but seeing her sadness, he shared a funny acorn mishap, making Glow giggle through tears. Lily revealed the kindness orbs could dispel the fog, sparking hope in Glow's heart. Glow, heart racing with fear and excitement, agreed to quest for the kindness orbs in the misty meadow. Sunny bounced with joy, promising fun, while Lily offered her empathy. As they set off, Glow felt a tiny spark in her glow, her necklace shining faintly with resolve. The trio reached the misty meadow entrance, fog swirling mysteriously. Glow's glow dimmed with terror, but Sunny's encouraging jokes and Lily's warm nuzzle lifted her spirits. They entered, Glow's eyes wide with wonder and worry, her heart pounding. Inside, a puzzle orb appeared. Help a fallen leaf find its tree. Glow, scared, used her faint glow to guide a lost leaf, her heart swelling with joy as it reunited. Her glow brightened slightly, tears of happiness mixing with relief. Shade whispered from the fog, his sad eyes peering, jealous of Glow's spark. Glow felt a pang of empathy, her heart aching for his loneliness. Sunny's brave stand and Lily's kind words pushed them forward, emotions stirring. They crossed a crumbling fog bridge over a dark chasm, vines snapping. Glow's fear surged, tears flowing, but Lily's story of her own lost fawn steadied her. Sunny's quick leaps pulled them across, Glow's glow sparking with gratitude. The second orb, share a light with a dim flower. Glow, hesitant, shared her glow with a fading bloom, her heart warming as it revived. Tears of joy fell as her own glow brightened, Sunny and Lily hugging her in pride. Shade set a trap of illusion vines, ensnaring the trio. Glow's heart broke with panic, remembering her loneliness. Sunny's funny distractions and Lily's empathetic pull freed them, Glow's tears turning to determination. The third orb, forgive a prickly thorn. Glow forgave a prickly plant that pricked her, her heart aching, then healing as it bloomed. Her glow surged, tears of forgiveness flowing, strengthening her bonds with Sunny and Lily. Shade confronted them, his mist swirling sadly, confessing his loneliness caused the fog. Glow felt deep empathy, her heart tearing, and offered friendship. Sunny's brave stand and Lily's kind words softened Shade, emotions overwhelming. Glow collected the orbs, her glow blazing as they merged into a radiant light. The fog retreated, but Shade collapsed, his form fading. Glow's tears and friend support revived him, emotions of love and relief flooding. The light swept to the dream tree, restoring its glow. The forest bloomed, creatures cheering with joy. Glow felt overwhelming happiness, her heart full as Shade's mist turned to sparkling dew, joining the celebration. Glow called a council at the dream tree, her voice strong with emotion. Birds, rabbits, and butterflies gathered, sharing stories of fears overcome, tears of joy flowing as Lily led a kindness chant and Sunny added fun. A last fog whisper tested them, stirring old fears. Glow's heart raced with doubt, tears falling, but friends' hugs and the council's support amplified her glow, turning the whisper to a gentle breeze, evoking relief and happiness. That night, a radiant glow festival lit the glen with fireflies and sparkling dances. Glow, crowned with bloom petals, led a kindness dance. Her heart full of love, sharing hugs with friends, tears of joy flowing. Shade confessed his jealousy, tears streaming, feeling alone. Glow forgave him with a hug, her glow warming his mist. The forest cheered, emotions of forgiveness and new beginnings filling the air as Shade joined the dance. At dawn, Glow fluttered high, her glow bright, overlooking the thriving forest. Friends joined, their hearts full of pride and love. Glow sang a song of kindness, tears of happiness in her eyes as the dream tree shone eternally. A last kindness puzzle appeared. Share your light with all. Glow shared her glow with the forest, her heart bursting with love. Creatures' lights brightened, tears flowing as it strengthened, the fog gone forever. Glow gathered all, her voice emotional, sharing how kindness healed them. The forest sparkled, hearts united in joy. Shade smiled, no longer alone, as Glow's necklace glowed brightly, now symbolizing lasting friendships. Glow fluttered with friends, her glow eternal. She declared, "Our kindness made us shine." The moral lesson shown, true kindness lights up the world and brings friends together, teaching kids that helping others not only brightens their day, but also makes your own heart glow stronger.
In the heart of the Whispering Valley, where the river hummed a hurried song and the winds rushed through the tall grass, lived a little tortoise named Pip. While the other animals, the zipping hummingbirds, the racing rabbits, and the leaping deer, celebrated speed and agility, Pip was known for only one thing. He was the slowest creature in the entire valley. His small, emerald green shell was heavy, and his little legs moved with a careful, unhurried pace. He often felt a deep, quiet sadness, yearning to be fast, to be important, to feel like he truly belonged. Every year, an ancient ceremony was held at the foot of the great elder oak, the oldest tree in the forest. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, the oak would entrust a shimmering, fragile piece of the sunset to the fastest animal, to be carried to the far side of the valley, where it would help the sun rise the next day. This year, the hummingbird, a blur of motion and color, was given the task. But as he zipped off, the delicate orb of light wobbled and nearly fell. Its magic could not be rushed. With a sigh, the hummingbird returned, and the valley held its breath. Then, from the gnarled roots of the ancient oak, a gentle, wise voice echoed across the valley. The journey of the sunset is not for the swift. It is for the steady. Its light must be carried with care, not in a rush. The ancient branches of the oak stretched out and pointed to Pip. The other animals gasped. A nervous giggle rippled through the crowd of rabbits, but Pip's heart, which had been so small and sad, swelled with a new powerful feeling, purpose. With his head held high, he accepted the shimmering, magical orb. The moment it rested on his shell, a soft, warm light enveloped Pip, pushing back the deepening twilight. He took his first deliberate step. His journey began at the very moment the sun vanished from the sky. The path ahead was dark and full of tangled roots and thorny bushes, but the sunset orb on his shell cast a gentle glow, illuminating every little obstacle. He was slow, but he was incredibly careful. His shell brushed against the thorn, but he took an extra second to adjust his path. A stone rolled under his foot, and he paused to find his balance. The other animals had only seen the destination, but Pip saw every single step of the way. With every slow, sure movement, the sadness in his heart was replaced by a quiet sense of duty. As he moved through the whispering forest, he heard a tiny whimpering sound. It was a little field mouse named Squeaky, who was lost and trembling with fear. "Oh, please," Squeaky cried, his whiskers twitching. "I can't see the path. The dark is so big." Pip, without a moment's hesitation, lowered his shell. The sunset orb's light spilled out, casting a comforting glow over the tiny mouse. "I am the guardian of the sunset," his voice said, a soft rumble. "You can walk beside me, and my light will keep you safe." Squeaky scurried alongside him, feeling warm and secure. The other animals would have rushed past, too focused on speed to notice. But Pip's slow pace allowed him to show compassion and kindness, a gift the fastest animal couldn't give. Soon, They reached the edge of a wide, rushing river. The water roared, and a swift-footed fox stood on the bank, frustrated. "The current is too strong," the fox yelped. "I cannot get across." Pip looked at the churning water, his heart pounding with fear. But he also looked at the precious glowing orb on his back. Its light pulsed, and he felt a surge of bravery. He gave a determined nod to Squeaky, who waved goodbye. Then, with a deep breath, Pip walked slowly into the rushing water. The river pulled at his shell, the current tugging at his legs. He was terrified, but his heavy shell and unhurried pace were his greatest strengths. He inched forward, one careful step at a time, his body a steady rock against the water's fury. The light of the sunset orb pulsed with his beating heart, showing him where to find his footing. Finally, he emerged on the other side. Dripping wet and exhausted, he crawled onto a stretch of soft, mossy earth. He was tired, but a deep sense of peace washed over him. He was no longer worried about being fast. He was simply doing what he was meant to do. He looked up at the sky, a velvety blanket of 1,000 stars. The orb on his back seemed to hum a gentle, comforting song, and the stars twinkled just for him, like they were cheering him on. He had been so focused on proving his speed, but he had discovered something better. His slowness had given him a quiet strength he never knew he had. As the sky began to turn from black to a deep indigo, Pip saw the finish line, a great ancient rock at the very edge of the valley. He put every ounce of his remaining strength into those final steps. His little legs ached, but his heart was full. He reached the rock just as the first sliver of dawn appeared. With a final triumphant push, he placed the sunset orb on the stone. It pulsed with a brilliant glow, and then, in a spectacular explosion of color, merged with the rising sun. The sky burst into a breathtaking sunrise of 1,000 fiery shades, more beautiful than anyone in the valley had ever seen. The animals who had been waiting gasped in awe. They had thought the journey was a race, but they finally understood. The great elder oak's voice once again whispered on the wind. The journey of the sunset is not about how fast it can be delivered, but how much care is taken along the way. Pip's slowness was not a weakness. It was his superpower. He had delivered the sunset not just on time, but with kindness, bravery, and a steady heart. From that day on, Pip was a hero. He was still the slowest, but he was no longer sad. He knew his value, and he walked with a new sense of purpose and pride. The other animals learned that the most important journey is not the one you finish the fastest, but the one you take with the most care. The moral of Pip's story is that your greatest strength is often found in the very things that make you different. True greatness comes from embracing who you are, not from trying to be like everyone else.